Hi everyone, this is a brief lecture introducing how to create SMART objectives. Objectives are part of your third paper, but not your second paper. However, I introduced them in the second unit because it's something new that you probably do not know how to do, and it gives us some time to practice over a period of a couple classes. So I want to talk a little bit about the difference between goals and objectives. So goals tend to be more global, and you guys have goals in your grants. And you can see that they're very broad statements. They're difficult to measure, and they use terms that are general, and that's what makes them difficult to measure. And goals typically take a longer time to achieve, for example, over several years. So everyone, hopefully, by this point knows the goals in your grants, although I'm still correcting a few people. So make sure you know what those goals of your grant are that you're using for this class. Objectives are much more specific, and they're localized to your population, and they take less time frame, typically a week, a month, a session, up to a year or more, but they typically are shorter in time, and they're easier to measure because they use more specific terms. So there's two ways that people learn to write objectives. One of the ways to learn how to write an objective is that an objective should always answer the questions: who will do what, by when, how will they do it, and how much will be accomplished. That's one way to learn how to write objectives. The other way is to talk about SMART objectives. And SMART objectives are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. And of course, whether you learn the other way or this way, your objectives always must align with your goals. So specific means that you're using specific terms that are measurable. Attainable means that whatever you write for your objective is reasonably able to be attained in the amount of time you're saying. It's relevant to your topic, and you always must give a time frame in the objective of when it will be accomplished. So these are words on the left-hand side of the screen that cannot be measured that are typically used in a goal. Things like know, understand, comprehend, do. And on the other side, there are words that are used that can be measured. And when we get into objectives in Unit 3, we'll get many more words that we can use. So for example, if you were to say at the end of the session, the people at the session will know how to do something, or they will know facts about suicide, you can't measure that because you don't know how you're measuring the word know. But if you were to say at the end of the session, the people will be able to list 3 risk factors of suicide, or they'll be able to identify risk factors of suicide, or they'll be able to match risk factors with types of risk factors, that one might not be good. They'll be able to demonstrate how to prevent or how to discuss risk factors with someone who's contemplating suicide. They'll be able to outline risk factors of suicide, because listing them, identifying them, defining them, describing them, those all require slightly different skills. But if I were to say to you they're going to know something, that is way too broad for us to measure. So what we're going to do now is we're going to practice, and there are activity sheets in the lesson, and sometimes we also practice in class. But I'd like you to make sure that you practice how to write objectives using the strategies that are done in class and or the activities that are in your lesson.